Freaky Jersey Tales, and I'm back to tell you some more Freaky Jersey Tales. And as usual, it's just another day, another dollar we don't spend on these 3-0. Someone asked me why I named my channel Freaky Jersey Tales. It's because I make videos about my Freaky Jersey Tales. You got it? Makes sense? Alright, cool. So check this out. I'm not going to be one of those YouTubers and lie to you and say all the women I've ever been with have been 9s and 10s on this channel. I'll tell y'all about all of my wins and losses, whether it comes to women, stocks, or anything else. I don't just tell you about my Freaky Jersey Tales. Sometimes I also talk about my Freaky Jersey L's. So my videos can also be used for educational purposes. Have I dated and been able to pull 9s before? Yeah. Have I been with 8s, 7s, and 6s before? Yeah. But I'd be lying if I said I'd never been with lower. At the very least, when it came to sex, at the very least, generally, I go for an average chick if there weren't any other options available, because the majority of women on this planet are average or slightly less when it comes to physical looks, in my personal opinion. So looks could be subjective. A girl that I think is an 8 out of 10 in the face, someone might think is a 5, and vice versa. There's been some guys I spoke with that rated girls a 10, and in my eyes, I thought she was below average in the face. So they have their opinion and I have mine. And that's okay, because when I give women a low rating, I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, because we're born with what we're born with. And I'm not the best looking in the world either. There's women that may or may not find me attractive, and I'm okay with that. But on rare occasions, I've had lower than average. I'm not even gonna lie. So I'm gonna start a new little series called Target Practice. So I remember it was like this time, right? Like when I met an older woman, I should say older white woman in her 40s when I'm in my 20s, and this woman was on my nuts. She showed a lot of interest and was very consistent, so I was on the fence about messing around with her. I was telling the dude who works at the front desk at the gym how thirsty this woman was acting, and he kept telling me, dude, just give her the BBC, bro. Please, bro. She's begging for it. Dude, if I were you, I would. So I'm like, alright, fuck it. I'm gonna give her what she asking for. And this woman's probably like 5'8", has a beautiful, amazing, slim, thick body, and you could tell she works out, but her face was bah. And she also cut her hair real short, when I prefer women with real long hair. And to top it off, she's a single mother with 2 kids. So fellas, remember, we ain't talking about the game, because we talking about practice. Practice, man. Practice. Target practice. So I just decided to mess around with her just because. I wasn't desperate or anything, because at the time I had a rotation of beautiful women. So first time we hung out, we went to a restaurant here in Jersey. It was a place that she recommended, and as we're at this restaurant eating, she keeps telling me about her accomplishments and how she makes so much money, and how her house costs close to $1 million, and how she's strong and independent. She even had the nerve to say that all men want a strong and independent woman, and men get intimidated when a woman makes a lot of money. And I cut her off and I told her, no disrespect, salute to all your accomplishments, but the majority of men, we don't give a fuck about a woman's money and all that extra stuff, because at the time, I was probably only making a few dollars more than minimum wage. She made a substantial amount of money compared to me, and I wasn't intimidated in the slightest bit. Before her, I've been ran through chicks that made a lot of money, and I had sugar mamas before, so this ain't nothing new for me. And she's still sitting there going back and forth with me, telling me all men want a woman that has a good career and blah, 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 and all that stuff. Ladies out there listening to this, I see I have a handful of female subscribers, but 99% of the time they never comment on my videos. what I'm about to say applies to y'all as well. So when it comes to being strong and independent and you having a high paying career, the majority of us men, we don't give up. So I said something like, wow, that's great. You make a lot of money. You're so strong and independent. So you're telling me that I'll just pay for my own shit and you'll pay for your own shit? Fantastic. Woo! Yo, she did not like that. You should have seen the look on her face. I said it in a joking tone, but I was dead serious at the same time. So check this out, right? When the waiter comes over to give us the bill, she aggressively says, "Can we have separate checks?" So I was chuckling to myself a little bit, right? So we paid for our own meals 50-50. So when we got up, then we walked outside. Oh, actually, hold up. Actually, you know what? I take that back. It actually wasn't 50-50. She said she would take care of the tip, so it was more like 45-55, with her being 55%, of course. Hey, drizzle, cuz. So when we got out the restaurant, she was turned on and wanted to take me back to her house, but couldn't because her ex-husband was about to drop the kids back off. And we couldn't go back to my house for a quickie because I lived with my mom at the time. So a couple of days later, she hit me up, said that her ex-husband was going to have the kids all weekend so I could come through. So I told her to send me the address and I'll be over there. So once the Rugrats went out the door, she sent me the address. Or like the young dudes like to say, she sent me the Addy, bro. I don't even know why I say younger guys, because you guys are about the same age as me. But she lived close by, so maybe it took like 17 minutes to drive there. When I pulled up, I was like, dang, this is a nice big old house. And she had like 2-3 cars and a motorcycle in her garage, if my memory's correct. So I thought, wow, she wasn't lying. This Cougar is loaded. Once I walked inside, she took off my hoodie and told me to take off my shoes. I had my appetite ready because before I went there, she said she would cook some food for me, you know? So I'm looking around, asking like, all right, you ready to eat? She's smirking at me without saying anything. So I asked again, like, are you ready to eat? She's still smiling and she turns her head and looks upstairs. Then looks at me. Then looks back upstairs. Then looks back at me smiling. Then looks back upstairs. And looks at me. So I look upstairs. I look back at her. And I said, let's fucking go. We went straight to the bedroom. Did some foreplay. Took off the clothes. Put on my Trojan. We started getting it. Or I should say, I started getting it because I was doing most of the work. She just laid there like a dead coffin fish. Probably around like 15-20 minutes later, I started to notice all the blood is leaving my third leg and it started shrinking. I'm like, no. So she asked, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah. Just give me a minute. So I jack myself off, get myself back up. It's not working. Then I rubbed the tip up and down on the coochie to get hard. It didn't work. Then I put my thing back inside her while squeezing the shaft, trying to get the blood back in there, and started humping. Didn't work. So now I'm embarrassed because I got erectile dysfunction while inside the pussy. So she's like, so what happened? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know. She's like, is there anything I could do to help? I really want more. And I wanted more too because I ain't getting my nut off and I could feel myself getting some blue balls, so I need to skeet. So I said, yeah, give me some top. So took off the rubber and she started giving me some top. Now I'm getting back up quick. Hurried up, put the new rubber on, went inside, started going for about like 2-3 minutes. And all of a sudden, game over. I got erectile dysfunction again. By this point, she's getting emotional and she's like, Why aren't you excited? You don't like me, do you? So I'm halfway lying, telling the truth, like, oh no, I do. So she asked if it's the condom taking away some of the feeling. I said, yeah, the condom does take away the good feeling. And she said the only problem is that she's not on birth control, so we can't do it without protection because she can get pregnant. I was still horny, and I started having a conversation with my conscience like, should I tell her? Nah, don't tell her. Damn, I want to get this nut off. Nah, don't tell her. Alright, fuck it, I gotta get this nut off. So I decided to tell her. So I said, hey, actually, if we do it without a condom, you can't get pregnant. She's like, what? Of course I can. What are you talking about? I'm not on birth control. I said, I don't really tell anybody this, but I actually got a vasectomy. And she's like, oh, no. I said, oh, yeah. She said, no, that's impossible because you're too young to get a vasectomy. A doctor wouldn't allow that. So after telling her that I got one, she started an argument with me. And she's like, why would you do that? You're so young. I told her I never wanted kids. Oh no, everyone wants kids. No, everybody doesn't. Majority of people on this planet, yeah, but some people no. When Tom Likas went on the radio and shouted out to the airwaves that he never ever wanted kids in his entire life, and people called in arguing with him about it, I could relate so much to Tom because I never ever not one time wanted kids, and I still don't. And I've always been 100% consistent about that ever since I was a kid. So me and this woman are now sitting on the bed, butt naked in the dark, going back and forth about this topic. Her vagina and titties are hanging out, and my limp noodle is laying there on one of her pillows. Then she asked me if I was clean. I asked if she was clean. I said yes. She said yes. Then we went raw dog. I don't recommend any of you guys to do what I did, but I'm gonna keep it real and tell you that's what I did. And when we went raw, it's like the erectile dysfunction disappeared instantly. Had her from the front. Turned that slim, thick body around, started clapping it from the back. Then from the side. She fell off the bed, she's out of breath, and she gave me that look like she about to tap out. I said, all right, let me wrap this up because I'm wearing her old ass out. Flipped it back towards me. Her vagina is gushing. I started hitting it from the front again. Started long dicking her. Splash. Splash. I go in as deep as possible. I have my sweaty chest on her breast. Tie my arms around her. And all that good stuff. And so as I'm pumping, I tell her I'm about to finish. I'm about to hit her with that money shot. Once I told her that, she took her legs and wrapped them tight around my waist and pulled me in deeper inside so that I wouldn't pull out. Blasted gallons of man milk inside her, and that shit felt magical. After that, I rolled over and laid down, and as we're both breathing heavily, she says, vasectomies are so hot. 1 minute she was nagging me because I got a vasectomy, and then the next minute she's talking about vasectomies are so hot. So after that, all I remember is waking up to some sunshine on my face that came from the windows. And I put two and two together, realizing that I passed out after blasting off. I eventually took a shower at her crib once I got my bearings together. And I remember when I woke up that day, I looked at my phone, I saw my boy text me. And he's asking me like what I'm up to. So I told him, and he's like, oh, is this a new chick? And I was like, yeah. So I took a video of Jessica when she was coming out the bathroom half naked while I did some commentary to make her laugh. And I sent it to my boy, and this dude is going crazy. He's like, yo, FJT, she's a baddie. That's a 10. See, she got a sister. Oh, I'm thinking, dang, he thinks she's that attractive? All right, to each his own. He asked me if I'm going to be in a relationship. I'm like, whoa, bro, pump your brakes. This ain't the game, man. We talking about practice, man, so I could sharpen up my skills, target practice. And Jessica was comfortable with me recording her half naked, so I probably could have made a homemade porn flick with her if I wanted to, you know? Title that joint, BBC savagely drills rich white cougar until she submits. So she was officially a new plate in my rotation, so whenever the ex-husband picked up the kids, she would always call me up for sex. No whining, no dining, no dinners, no dates, no buying of things, no money exchange, no tricking, no treating, just straight sex. I remember one time after a session, she asked if I wanted to watch a movie about an old school musician named such and such. I was like, who's that? She's like, are you kidding me? You don't know who he is? He's an icon. He's a legend. Everyone knows him. I had no idea who he was because he was touring before I was even born. So she put on a movie and I started falling asleep because I ain't like the movie. I kept it real and I was like, yo, this shit is trash. She was pissed off because of my comments, but I guess she wasn't that pissed off because after the movie, we went to her bedroom to have a round two. Something else that's kind of funny. Well, it wasn't funny at the time, but it's kind of sort of funny when I think back on it. So one night I went over, I think it was either snowing or it already snowed like a day before. She had a bunch of trash that had to go out. I said, if you want, I could take that trash out for you. And she's like, oh, really? You would do that? Thank you so much. So when I took the trash to the curb, I hear in the distance, hey, how you doing? It's one of her neighbors. I look up, I say, oh, hey, what's up? Yeah, my name is Bill. Yeah, I never met you before. What's your name? Oh, I'm FJT. Oh, nice to meet you, FJT. Yeah, I see you're Jessica's new friend. Oh, yeah, nice to meet you. Yeah. Yeah, Jessica's a great woman. Always willing to help out around the neighborhood. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, well, you take care now. So when I went back inside, I was like, yeah, so I just met your neighbor, Bill. He just started talking to me. She's like, oh, God, he's so annoying. He flipping talks too much. And another thing she did was either cook me food or bring me back food from a restaurant. All right, so this is going to sound real messed up. Y'all ready for this one? So check this out. A lot of women aren't direct and honest about their intentions, and women put men in different categories without telling them directly, which leaves many men confused. So instead of being direct, she would say to me, well, yeah, so I was going to go out on a date with a guy tonight, so what do you think about that? So make a long story short, I put two and two together. I make nowhere near the amount of money she was making, so I was the sex guy that got it for free while she looks for a guy that made as much as her or more for resource purposes. So to use online terms, they call it something like alpha fucks, beta bucks. Or they would say, FJT is a Chad. Since I'm a melanated brother, I would be more so considered a Tyrone, but not in the sense of I'm one of the best looking, sexiest dudes in the world. But that's okay because, you know, I don't have to be the best looking, you know what I'm saying? I'm clean, I'm healthy. I think I look alright. I think I got a little something, you know what I'm saying? But the dope part is I don't have to be rich, dress in fancy clothes, or have the best physical features in the world to pull the chicks that I want. Not saying this applies to 100% of guys all around the world, because many women have told me that I have the X factor. But just like everyone else, there's times I've been rejected in the past. I just work with what I was born with. Either she likes me or she doesn't. I can't force no woman to be attracted to me. So if a chick don't like me, oh well, I move on. Simple. But I know there's many women that want to be around me because I'm a real fun dude to hang out with. My phone is always blowing up. Not to toot my own horn or anything. So the type of guys that were taking Jessica out on fancy dates were lawyers, doctors, and if my memory was still sharp, I'm like 80% sure she told me she even went out with a judge on a date. Even though she's a single mother at her age, she still has the top 10% of earners taking her out to spoil her. Yeah, maybe those guys just wanted to smash also, but They're still leading with their wallet in hopes of getting it. Many guys think that spending a bunch of money is going to get her to have burning desire for them. And these dudes were big simping and big spending. She would go out on a date with these guys and then call me up afterwards to get drilled. So essentially, the food they paid for was just giving her a boost of energy to have sex with me. These guys were showing up to the date wearing their expensive fancy suits and dress shoes, pulling up with their fancy cars, taking her out to fancy restaurants, offering to take her out on all-inclusive vacations overseas. And meanwhile, you have a young fella like me walking in wearing some sweatpants, basketball shoes, and a black do-rag, raw dogging her in her close to $1 million house. I'm talking about taking her to Pound Town while I still have my do-rag on. Oh my God. While she probably told those doctors and lawyers that she's not that kind of girl. And while I'm at her house, she would say things like, "Oh yeah, we went to this restaurant and I brought you back some food." AKA she had the simp pay for it. And she would say, "Oh, don't worry, it hasn't been touched. It's fresh out the box. You want some?" "Yeah, I got it for you because I thought you would be hungry. If you don't want it, I'm just going to throw it out." And when she grabbed the food out the refrigerator, I remember she had a picture on the refrigerator of when she had real long hair that made her look so much better. And I'm like, why would you cut your hair? She's like, too much work. But I had mixed feelings about eating the food that the simps paid for. One part of me was thinking, dang, she's using these guys for free food and bringing me back some food and dessert with his hard-earned money. And the other side of me is thinking, well, I am hungry and I could go for some free food and dessert. I guess that's why they say it's a dog-eat-dog world. Essentially, these guys were getting rejected, but their money was accepted. So when you hear these guys on the internet talking about how women will make one guy pay whether he's simping or tricking, while another guy doesn't pay a red cent and walks in on the first night and smashes for free, I'm here to tell you that's the absolute brutal truth. I know many of you out there don't want to believe it because it sounds too doom and gloom. Just know that when you're big simping and tricking, you're not only contributing to her, you're also contributing to the guy that she truly desires. And you're contributing to those illegitimate children as well. Please don't shoot the messenger. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it firsthand. The homies I grew up with have experienced it firsthand as well. And as well as many men around the world. And if she tells you that she'll never do that on the first date, that translates to she would never do that on the first date with you. Because if she truly likes you like that, she gonna go. Ask me how I know. Don't get it twisted thinking I only have experience with slim thick cougars, because I've done this with young college girls as well. And I have my own homemade pornos to prove it. I'm never gonna release it to the public. So sorry to disappoint you ladies that are watching. Shoot, I'll go as far as saying I've been doing this since I was an undeveloped minor. Man, I've been clapping cheeks since high school. Fuck you mean? So it doesn't matter if she's an 8, 9, 10, or a 5. Doesn't matter if she's from here, overseas, younger, older. Some behave better than others. Some behave worse than others. Some can hide secrets and bad behavior better than others, but the duplicitous nature is universal. She might not be like that right now. She might not be like that in the moment. She might not be like that for 5, 10 years. She might not be like that when she's in your presence. So with you, she's going to be on her best behavior. So you think she's a perfect little angel. But for the guy she has burning desire for, it's a completely different story if she thinks she can be naughty and get away with it. I'm not telling y'all this information to try to make y'all angry or depressed. All I'm saying is that I used to believe that Santa Claus is real. I also used to believe that politicians were looking out for our best interest. I'm just saying. I've had some first dates at the park, and guess what? Me and the chick got it in on the first date at the park. No dinners, no dates, no headaches, never any cash exchange before or after the ejaculation. And 99% of the time, when women have sex with me on the first night, they say, "Oh, I usually don't do this. I hope you don't think I'm that kind of girl." While at the same time, I'm thinking, oh man, she's definitely that kind of girl. And most likely, these women are married now while her husband is telling everyone, Oh no. Oh no. My wife would never do that. She made me wait an entire year before I could sleep with her. She's different. I found my soulmate. I found the unicorn. So all of you out there can find a unicorn as well. True love exists. You can't give up. Don't stop the fight. I know I'm getting somewhat off topic, but I bring this up because I keep seeing guys get finessed by these women, losing money, and coming on the internet crying and saying how they're about to do physical harm to themselves. Y'all gotta wake up. We aren't living in a Disney movie where 100% of everyone is going to get married once and live happily ever after. The facts and stats aren't aligning with the Disney tale fantasy you have in your mind. The math ain't mathing. I know most guys won't listen. We can't say most men, but we now have confirmation that dudes are making these OnlyFans women rich. It's disgusting. We're going too far. And I know a lot of men are pissed off at women, but nobody is putting a gun to your head forcing you to simp, because most likely y'all were the ones that asked them out on a date. You were the one that essentially indirectly told her that you're comfortable with spending your hard-earned money to pay for a complete stranger's time so she could get to know you in hopes she'll reward you with some cooch and validation, when you know damn well another man didn't have to spoil her with free dates just for existing. Nah, you wrong, FJT. She told me, you know what she told me? She told me that if I don't take her out and spend a bunch of cash, then I won't get a second date. Yeah, that's because that's the price she said for you, because she doesn't like you like that. It's possible she might somewhat like you in the moment, but because, you know, it all depends on how she's feeling. Sometimes a chick that doesn't like you will test you and ask you for things that she doesn't need just to see if you'll pay for it. And of course, the majority of men will do it because they want that badge of honor. Let me ask you, when the last time a woman treated you? When the last time a woman sent for you? I personally don't chase women anymore. I tell people I'm single by choice, and I honestly don't want a girlfriend. And recently, I've had multiple women sent for me. I didn't ask them out, they asked me out. And that's real talk. Or like in Chicago, they say, on phone them, bro. In LA, they say, hey, on hood cut, on the set cut, neighborhood. What you say, cuz? I said neighborhood custard. I'll be laughing when making these videos. I sit back while listening to myself like, damn, I really just said that. But let me get back to Jessica. So we never really ended off on a bad note or anything, because I was the one that left the situation. And honestly, I was just bored. I felt like I was forcing myself to text her. There was nothing else to talk about, and we couldn't relate on any topics. And believe it or not, I didn't really care about having sex with her anymore. I just hang out with the fun, better looking girls I had in my rotation. And I remember I was at work one day and she sent me a message and said something along the lines of, so what are we? Where do we stand? Or something like that. And I just ignored the message. And I think that was pretty much that. And then I think she contacted me maybe a few weeks later or a month later after that on social media, and I just ignored that as well. I'm not sure how she found my social media, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So once again, man, we ain't talking about the game. We talking about practice. Practice, man. Target practice.
Listen, bro. We ain't talking about bloody games. We talking about the practice, mate, yeah? All of you a bunch of bloody fucking wankers, yeah?